Day 3, no food. So I guess my family thinks because I'm fat, I don't need to eat every day. Um, so I want to talk about personal finances and managing money, and why most families on the lower half of the income scale are making a huge mistake. How to solve poverty, how to solve homelessness, actually permanently solving these problems for the rest of the future. And I also want to talk about cars and like what should your first car be? How many cars should you own? What kind of cars should you buy? And housing. These are all things I want to talk about on this channel to educate some people. Um, and to share this because it's not intuitive for certain people. Definitely wasn't intuitive to me. It took a lot of study and research and pain and suffering. Um, yeah, like what is your home? What is the purpose of your home? It's not just shelter from the elements. I talked about that before. Can a hotel room be a home? Um, can a truck be a home? Um, what else? My dental infection is affecting my cognition. I hope it's not spreading. If the pain radiates through my jaw, so and this has happened before with other teeth. I had a failed root canal, and it almost killed me. Let's see. Don't ever get a root canal under any circumstances. If the dentist tells you need a root canal, you need to, if you're either get a second opinion if you're not certain he's right, and if another dentist also tells you that you need to get a root canal, then you actually need to get the tooth extracted and then eventually get an implant. But let's see. You never want to get an extraction and then immediately get an implant. Dental work is the way dental work is done in this country is just totally wrong. It's like incorrect. If the goal is health and of the patient, if the goal is just cosmetic, then I guess everything's correct. Everything's fine. If the goal is cosmetic and immediate pain relief, then dentistry is doing great, the field of dentistry. But that doesn't seem to be what the field of dentistry. It's a field of medicine, right? So medicine is supposed to be health. So we do dentistry wrong in this country and probably most country of the world because people are just not educated. Yeah, I want to make videos about all these things when I have the energy. It's just there's a window of time every day where I take 200 milligrams of caffeine and I feel talkative, but the rest of the day I'm just like in hell. I just listen to podcasts, pass the time here. YouTube podcasts. I can't really do YouTube, or I can do YouTube, but I can't. I don't have internet on my laptop, so I don't. I'm just using a phone. I'm just trapped in this like a caged tiger. I'm trapped in this hotel room here, and then I'm being threatened. I'm being evicted, and I have nowhere to go. So I didn't choose this. I chose to, have a lucrative technology career. That's what I chose. After college, that's what I chose for myself. So be careful what you choose because it might not be supported by your family. And we'll talk about that too. So your family, the goal of a family is to raise healthy kids that can become self-sufficient and productive members of society. That's the goal of a family. It's an economic survival unit as well, for the woman and for the kids. And the man is supposed to provide at least half for the woman and the kids. At least half, I think, is fair. Meaning the cost of everything the woman and the kids need. Obviously, in the old days, the man would pay for his wife to be a stay-at-home mom, a trad wife, and that's great, but that's not realistic for most people today. Most guys, that's not realistic. And But I definitely think I have very strong opinions about this because I'm the victim. Basically, my father worked to make his wife a stay-at-home wife and didn't provide for his kids. He just provided for his wife, and the wife sometimes met like 50% of the needs of the kids growing up, but never, it was never 100%. And there were so many problems growing up. For example, the homes I grew up in, none of them worked for me. They were all problematic. They were all junky rental homes with dogs shedding all over everything. It was such a I can't believe the conditions in which I grew up. So unhygienic, so dirty. And I wonder if some of my health problems I have today with my immune system and stuff are related to that. Because, like, if you just grow up in a dumpster, what do you expect? And that's a reflection of mental illness. And also, like, yeah, so I'm being tortured here. My father comes over here once a week and he pays for me to stay another week in this hotel. He pays for me. He doesn't let me pay. So he inserts himself into that relationship between the hotel and myself and makes me like instead of a customer, makes me like it creates a weird social dynamic between the staff and the hotel people here, because it's like I'm not the one paying, therefore I'm not really a customer. So he gives me like a second class experience here. So, I mean, they're pretty good, but and then he gives me $20 to tip the housekeeper for the week. But I don't have enough food money, so I'm not. If I have to choose between tipping the housekeeper and eating, I'm gonna eat. So I don't get to tip the housekeeper. So then I get treated even worse by the staff here. And then I'm trapped in this room. I need to change rooms because the room I'm in is dusty. The air conditioner hasn't been serviced, and it's just spewing dust 24 hours a day. Everything in the room is just covered in this layer of dust, and it's mold and human skin cells. And I'm breathing that. Everything is coated in that. So when I do pack up everything in this room, I'm gonna have to use a moist microfiber towel, wipe all the filthy dust off everything. But it goes everywhere. So and I realize that's part of the abuse tactic from these narcissists, is they want to put their filth onto you. They want to make your life filthy, metaphorically and literally. That's why the homes growing up were always filthy. It was just like an angry child. I'm gonna live in filth, and you're gonna live in it with me. That's what it is. So it's disgusting. That's why I have very high standards for cleanliness and hygiene. Like basically everything has to be flawless. With my cars, with my homes, when I have these things, with my trucks, the interior, the exterior, everything is always spotless. The exterior, not so much on a truck or a car, but just the places where your body comes into contact with your hands, things you touch, like the seats, everything. And I have very high standards, because it really, when you have a filthy environment, it changes your psychology and lowers your standards for other things. Like if you're going to let your home go to hell, then you'll probably let your job go to hell. You'll probably let your relationships go to hell. You'll probably let other things go to hell because you're just not giving a damn. So it's like this DGAF, don't give a fuck attitude. And it's totally antithetical to human flourishing and well-being and prosperity and success and all of these things. So I can't stand it. So, so yeah, once I get, I've repeated this now for like 10 weeks to my father, and he's still not hearing me. I got to get moved into the hotel room. No, first I got to change hotel rooms, because this room needs to be cleaned. I haven't been in here. I've been in this room for like 7 weeks or something. They've never cleaned the room once. I eat everything in this room. I don't go somewhere else to eat. It's painful for me to sit down in a restaurant until I get my tailbone fixed. I don't enjoy sitting down in restaurants, sitting down in a movie theater. Sitting in a car even is painful. Like I'm laying down right now on my side. That's like the only relatively pain-free position, and it's getting worse as time goes on. But thank God I can fix these things. Maybe I'll never be 100% probably, but it can be to the point where it's not impractical or an inconvenience. I just got to get my tailbone fixed. But yeah, let's see. Um, yeah, so I got to change. Like I have to change hotel rooms. But I can't do that because I don't have all the. I don't want to go to tell them I need to change rooms, and then find out that they want me out of this room, and that this happened at the other hotel I was at, motel. They wanted me to move out of the room into the lobby, and then they would give me another room for some reason, and that's kind of not very nice for them to ask me to do that. They should just let me move from one room to the other room, but that's what they want. But I couldn't do that if I wanted to, because the luggage I brought into this room I don't have anymore. I threw away my moldy luggage because it was had liquids that were stored in it for 7 months and it was moldy. So, and you would think, oh, maybe this is like some expensive luggage. No, it's just a cheap, like $30 duffel from Amazon. So I picked out a replacement, and I didn't even like it anyway. So I was going to replace it anyway, just because it was impractical the way the zippers were and stuff. So I picked out a new piece of luggage, and it's from Walmart. It's the only place to get it. I even made a video about it before, but I took that one down. It's just a duffel backpack, just a duffel bag. And I'm not going to choose between eating and buying my duffel bag that I need. That's crazy. So I'm going this is day 3, no food. I'm being tortured here. And my narcissists don't think there's anything wrong with that. They're not taking responsibility. I'm completely dependent on them. Imagine, and they've been doing this to me when I was a little child. They didn't provide food for me when I was 7 years old. I remember some of my earliest memories were trying to find food in the fucking kitchen, and there was nothing. I would eat all the graham crackers. That's all there was, like canned tuna. You could only eat so much canned tuna. I basically grew up on canned tuna and mayonnaise because that's like all there was. There seemed to be a limitless supply of that in the home, and cereal. But anything else, like, and bagels, these disgusting factory bagels, not even from a fresh bakery, just disgusting. So that's what I grew up on, and like ham, like disgusting lunch meat ham, occasionally. That's like all there ever was in the home growing up. So nobody knew how to cook. There was like one Teflon skillet and like a plastic spatula, and yeah, there's no utensils for cooking or anything. So very strange. So basically, 2 people that never learned how to live properly hooked up and had a family, and I'm the result of that. So I took the time and I learned how to cook. I learned how to live, how to keep the home clean. The trick with keeping your home clean is never make it dirty, and if you do make it dirty, clean it up immediately. So that way, like when you move in, deep clean the place, and then just never make it filthy. I mean, maybe you have to do some deep cleaning once a year or something, like because dust. But if you have air purifiers, it doesn't even get dusty. So like clean behind the refrigerator once, clean behind the stove once, and then just act in such a way as to never make that place dirty in your home ever again. Like don't spill stuff, don't create scenarios where you can spill stuff, don't bring animals into the home, don't track your dirty boots into the living room. It's just common sense, a lot of this stuff. But for some reason in my family, I guess they just didn't care, and it really affected my mental health, just living in a filthy environment, caustic, itchy. That's another thing, is that allergies, like the homes growing up, it was always inflammatory. Everything was just itchy. Everything had like a residue on it, and like the air, felt like you couldn't breathe. It was like suffocating, and that's what I'm dealing with right now. The air in here is very bad, so I feel like I'm suffocating. I can't breathe properly. So it's just totally torture. So I need to change hotel rooms, and once I get this luggage from Walmart, hopefully I can just pack it. And what I do is I tell the hotel, hey, can I change rooms in like a certain time of day? I call them from the hotel room phone, I want to change rooms. And then if they say yes, I tell them, great, I'll be up. Um, and I come up there and get a key, and I go inspect the new room. And if the new room checks out, I do this early enough that they have time to pack up and get out of this room, and they have time to clean it so it can be rented to someone else. Um, but um, but yeah, I can't pack up this room because I don't have the luggage. So I'm not going to use. I'm not going to. This is so trashy. When you dictate how other people treat you. If the staff at the hotel that you depend on for your housing sees you hauling your belongings in trash bags, they're going to make a determination that you're a certain type of person, and then they're going to treat you a certain way. So this is why I'm actually looking into wearing t-shirts a lot less, because I notice when I wear a collared shirt, I get treated better. I get treated with more respect and more by people that are working for me, whether it's like in a hotel or whatever. I just get treated better just by simply wearing a collared shirt instead of a t-shirt, which is astonishing. Um, so yeah, and I need to have luggage anyway. When I do finally go back trucking, I'm not going to be using trash bags to haul stuff around. So I need to get luggage, but they won't let me buy this luggage from Walmart. And it's $50. It's not $500. I mean, I think a nice suitcase can cost $5,000. You know, one of those. I forget the brands, but you know those. And I would never buy a $5,000 suitcase. I like actually like Pelican cases for travel. Pelican cases are nice, hard side. But and I also like these aluminum roller luggage I've seen, but those are expensive, I think. Like the first company that made the aluminum um, roller bag, I think it starts with an A. Those are really nice. If I didn't, eventually I'd like to own one, a set of those, for travel though, not for air travel, not for road tripping. For road tripping, these bags are fine, and Pelican cases are good too. But I'm not looking to buy a Pelican case. You know, those are $300. I'm just looking to get a backpack off Amazon so I can pack my stuff up and then move to another room. Hopefully, inspect that room first, make sure it doesn't have the same problem this one does with the dust, and make sure the fridge works. There's a whole checklist when you're inspecting a hotel room before you commit to it. You know, and you don't want to get settled into a room and then discover that the fridge doesn't work or something, you know. Or that the air conditioner is spewing out dust. That's a new thing. I've never had that problem anywhere else before. Yeah. So once I change rooms, I got to get settled into the hotel room, so I can work and rehabilitate living out of a hotel room, and get my CDL back and get my health and all my systems in place so that I can go back trucking. Because when I go back trucking, I'm not going to be able to manage anything. I can't do any computer work in the truck. There's no time, because any spare moment that's not working on the truck is recovering from working, and it's not like time to do complicated computer work on the web and stuff and planning and stuff. It's just people don't understand. Most people don't live like this. Truckers literally work 90 hours a week. They work from the moment they wake up to the moment they pass out. And if they don't do that, they get replaced by someone who will. That's how the trucking industry is. It's a brutal industry to be involved in. Brutal, stupid thing to get involved in. But I'm forced into this because my family doesn't want to give me anything, and I couldn't join the military. Can't join the military. Yeah, it's just the best option, or really the only option, and I know how to do it. It's really just the only option for me. So I don't know what the disagreement is, but I think what the real problem is my father's just not taking responsibility for the situation I found myself in, because he chose for me to be in this situation. He chose to send me to jail. He chose to force me to get out of his home when I was like 31 or 29 or something. He forced me to get a problem. Every problem I've had since like my late 20s, my father was what caused it or contributed to it. Caused it mostly. Like he caused me to get a moldy apartment that didn't work for me. So imagine your father rents you an apartment, a cheap apartment, That's unusually cheap. And you want to be frugal, so you don't want to go to an expensive place to go to college. And then the apartment doesn't work because it's moldy. And you tell him, and he doesn't take ownership of the problem. He wasn't providing housing for me. He was renting me an apartment, renting me a moldy, dirty apartment, unsafe, unfit for human habitation apartments. So my father's never provided anything. He doesn't take ownership of anybody else's problems, or his own problems even, probably. But I thought he was solving my housing problem so I could go to school. And he was actually just renting me an apartment. That's all he was doing. So do you see the difference between renting someone an apartment and solving their housing problem? On the surface, it seems like the same thing, but they're actually fundamentally different. It comes from a different place, renting someone a cheap, moldy apartment versus solving their housing problem so they don't have to worry about their housing problem, so they don't have a housing problem anymore. Those are two fundamentally different things. Putting me in a hotel room versus solving my housing problem. Those are two different things, but on the surface they could appear similar. So he's putting me in this hotel room to keep me off the street, nothing more. What he needs to do is put me in a hotel room that can function as a functional home for me. And what does a home provide? A home's supposed to provide a place to work on the computer, a place to, prepare food and enjoy food, a place to, sleep properly, a place to do some light physical therapy and some light exercise of some kind, physical training. That's what a home is supposed to provide at the minimum. And then, of course, there's other things too, depending on who you are. So he's not providing these things for me. So he's not taking responsibility of the problem, which is what a man would do. But so he's not acting like a man. He's acting like a angry child. And I think there's mental illness. Well, we know there's mental illness, but I also think there's some neurological condition that's also contributing. So it's very concerning. And if I go back in time, I guess I never would have. I guess I would have taken that money he gave me to go to Columbia, and I would have just gone back trucking. I really was trying to get out of trucking. 5 years ago, I saw that there's no future for me in trucking, and I wanted to go to Columbia and study web development online. And then I went down there and I got poisoned. And instead of doing that, I should have. I didn't want to go to Columbia. I just wanted cheap housing and internet access. And I thought I could get that in Columbia. My family convinced me to go to Columbia. But I see what I need to do now. That was a crazy idea, but yeah. So hopefully my family will support me to change hotel rooms and have food security. So, and there's a difference between feeding someone temporarily here and there versus taking ownership of provide support for them, providing food security. So food security means reliable, consistent access to healthy food. Not what you think is healthy, what the person that has to eat the food thinks is healthy. Because everybody's body's different, Some people can live on Weetabix and bagels and stuff and canned beans, baked beans. And then other people like myself, we really should only be eating, especially with my condition now, I really should only be eating a very specific way that requires me to cook, have a real kitchen. So, but I can use an Instant Pot as a stopgap, until I get back on a truck. But yeah, this is just abusive, and I'm just passing the time here, using up the last of my 30s. So my father stole my teens, stole my childhood, and my teens, and my 20s, and now my 30s. I didn't get to do anything I wanted to do because he's not taking responsibility for providing what the needs are of his kids, and now his adult kids. So, and I'm just trying to get away from him at this point. I'm gonna have to. It just sucks that I have to try to rebuild a life from a position of weakness like this, when the purpose of a family is to provide set the kids out to face reality from a position of strength. Get as much education as you can, get to the best schools you can. Give kids as much wealth and education and equip them to pursue where they fit, find where they fit and in the world, And I guess my father thought I fit in at the bottom at the very bottom, and now I think he thinks I should be a second class citizen for him. So it's totally evil and demonic. So they're trying to destroy me, and they're paying a fortune. This is all just to keep me out of their house. They have a room for me in their house. They just choose to keep a dirty, filthy, allergenic, inflammatory, unhealthy, unsanitary home. And rather than cleaning up their home and learning how to live properly, they would rather just pay $2,000, $3,000 a month for me to starve in a hotel room, trapped in a hotel room. And they have multiple vehicles. They could have shared a car with me, and they chose not to. So they don't share cars in my family. And I realized that's another thing I found was strange growing up. I remember I noticed other families, they would share cars, and in my family, no one ever shared cars. It was like a personal thing. It's like, I don't know what you're doing. Your car makes it, you don't want to share it. It's not like they have expensive cars or anything, really. But I'm pretty sure they're insured, right? So it's narcissists don't share. They don't believe in sharing their homes, their cars, sharing with their kids. They don't share. Everything has got to be your problem. It's not like a normal family, So I don't come from a family, so I need to. It really sucks. This is not the right way to treat people, and it does a disservice to society when you create disabled men who can't be productive in the economy, can't start their own families, and that kind of thing. So I'm hoping my father will see this and he'll support me to change hotel rooms. It's a large order from Walmart, hundreds of dollars. Clear out my Walmart cart and then start ordering supplies to get moved into the hotel from Amazon. And then once I'm functional in the hotel room, I have a ton of work to do to get ready to go back living in a truck without a computer, without a lot of things. There's a lot of sacrifices to live in a truck, and I'm going to be doing it for the next 10 years. So probably should take things seriously. It's like I'm taking things seriously, and my father's not taking things seriously. I didn't choose to be in this situation. I chose to do well in high school and then go to college and then start my career in IT. But then I had a car problem. I had just money problems, material problems, and poverty that prevented me from going to high school or starting my life. And this is how we end up here. I'm still dealing with the same problems today, 30 years later. And it's because my father just doesn't take any responsibility for his family. So it's totally demonic, and it's very sad. So yeah, my kids wouldn't be allowed to go to class naked and starving. They would be provided for, so they could focus on what they want to do. And totally different way of raising kids and treating family. I mean, even if he wasn't my father, we're still related, And I didn't choose to be in this situation. In times of crisis, families come together to solve problems. That's the purpose of a family. Otherwise, that's just a very dark way to look at things. Like my son's just trying to take from me. Yeah, if you won't give, then you create a situation where your son needs to take stuff from you. Like then it's because you're not giving enough. So yeah, if you just give, then people won't need to take from you. So that's totally evil. He just doesn't give. He's not a giver. So I'm starving here, and I'm just passing the time. There's all these things I wanted to do with my life. It's just so bad. I have to keep donating decades to these narcissists. They keep stealing decades from me. I really thought 5 years ago, when they let me go to Colombia, I really thought they were letting me escape trucking, and turns out they were just telling me to get the fuck away. So I should have faced the horror of the reality that I literally come from non-human creatures. These narcissists, they're not like normal humans. They don't want a family. They don't want relatives. They have no relatives, no family. They have nobody. They just want to live in their own little hermit world and play with animals. That's all they want to do, as far as I can tell. And it's really sad.